All right, so my official reactions to the FX35, just jumping in it and driving it for the first time. It's definitely comfortable. The seats are pretty nice. I think, what do you call it? Infiniti, Nissan does a pretty good job with seating and so forth. It definitely gives you a coupe-like feel. And it has the memory seats, so when I first sat in, like, the seating felt real weird. But as soon as I went to go touch the start button to turn it, it's not push start, it's like push to turn. You don't need to insert the key at all. But I like how it did it as soon as I started. Like, I didn't start the car and then it did it or anything. Like, I was in the motion and it was like, all right, let me get into gear two. Like, I don't know. So I kind of like that. As far as, the seating position, I'm gonna go ahead and start to turn the key. Oh, I love that sound. That's pretty cool. That's definitely pretty cool. Definitely the look of it is pretty nice. Some decent materials, definitely some hard plastics up top a little bit softer right at the tip top. Definitely a lot of plastics and things, but I do like the kind of like fake aluminum look in the middle here. As far as the ride's decent. It's definitely not as smooth as our Pathfinder, but that's probably having to do with like the larger wheels and so forth. I don't know if you can hear that. But the engine note sounds really good with the windows up or the windows down. You gotta love that VQ sound. Not quite sure what's beeping. It's like XM radio or something, I don't know. But you gotta love that sound, and I like that it kind of like pops through, comes through even with the windows up, but with the windows down it's definitely even more noticeable. And I'm not even going that fast, like 40 miles an hour, going from like 30 to 40. So it's just a really good note. Visibility, I don't really want to move the mirror just because I'm just borrowing the car for a little bit, even though it's not too bad. I think visibility is kind of all right. The back window is a little smaller than normal, but what I like is the back headrests are kind of like a horizontal shape rather than like really tall and vertical, which means that, sorry, I keep turning, let me just fully turn here so I can bring the wheel back. Which means that you get a lot more visibility out of the back windshield than you might normally from another kind of car. The steering wheel is nice. I don't know if it's anything to really write home about, but you know, it's definitely adequate. It has like, no, it's not really a flat bottom. It kind of gives that appearance just by the other shapes on it. The shifter, you know, it's pretty nice, it's decent and so forth, and this has features. Like, I like the little clock in the middle here. You know, I don't want to pay $5,000 for a clock, especially when it's pretty basic, but I kind of like it. I don't know, maybe that's me, man. I'm kind of a little old school, but like I said, I like the fake aluminum trim. That definitely looks nice. Got heated seats, sunroof, has a power tailgate, so it has a lot of the features and so forth. And I think one thing that is nice is, like, I've been kind of shopping around for like a sport SUV, so obviously now that our friend has one of these, kind of looked at it a little bit more, but I like it. It has a coupe feel, but you obviously have 4 doors, you have space in here, but it does kind of feel like a cockpit. One thing I will say is that the power windows, you kind of have to always like twist your hand a little bit to go around the door handle. I'm not so much of a fan of that, but it's such a little thing. I mean, it wouldn't really like kind of, what do you call it, keep me from wanting to buy the car. Definitely big storage bins down below. So yeah, first initial drive, I like the feel of it. It definitely has good pull and acceleration. You know, it's not It's not a Ferrari, but it definitely has power. It sounds good, and I think it looks good. You know, they're definitely polarizing. Some people kind of just call it the car that looks like a shoe, and in some ways it kind of does. But I like the big grille. They were doing big grills before, you know, a lot of the other manufacturers kind of were. And, you know, it has big wheels, and, you know, it sounds cool, and I think it really ticks off a lot of boxes of things that you would really want out of a luxury sport SUV like this. Under the hood of the FX, got the 3.5 liter V6 VQ engine. Looks pretty nice under here. Everything's kind of clean.
You alright?
Yeah, doing okay. Just shooting a video.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry to bother you.
No, have a great day.
You were good and weren't having any car trouble.
I appreciate it. It sucked to be out in this weather and broken down, you know?
Well, at least it's not too hot out, you know?
Yeah, it's been pretty nice.
Yeah. But sorry to bother you. Sorry to interrupt the video.
No worries. Take care, officer.
You as well. Have a great day.
So you can see it's running really smooth. I mean, for an older vehicle, this is quiet. This is really quiet. Honestly, a lot quieter than even some newer motors, newer cars. Just because you hear them like ticking a lot more, there's a lot more going on underneath. I mean, just silent. I'm really impressed with that. Now, some of these did have transmission issues. You know, I think a lot of people just kind of beat on them, especially when you got the V8, the 45s. But I think this one has been pretty well maintained for sure. So here's a look at the gauge cluster. I don't know if I'm a super fan of the orange. I know BMW does it a lot too. But I will say, I really don't mind it. They didn't try to do anything crazy here. All the numbers are easy to read. And the dash is very close. Like, a lot of them can start back here. This one's forward up in the dash, like, unit. So I definitely like that. And you definitely got some controls over here, like snow mode, like traction control. I think this is like a lane watcher to keep you in lane. So that's pretty cool, because I believe this is a 2008. So, you know, to have features like that back then, and of course you got the Bose audio system, you got your radio, CD, DVD up here. There's definitely a lot of buttons, a lot going on, but it's organized pretty nice. And honestly, I'm kind of a fan of buttons, honestly, as long as they're done well. I don't like a lot of blank switches, except for a Porsche, because hey, that's how Porsche does, and Porsches are beautiful. But I'm not really a fan of like a lot of blank switches. That's why, like, you come over here, you got 2 blanks, but, you know, most of them are filled out. I think that's all right. And they did it nice. These 3 in the middle are filled out. It's not like one, skip one, skip one. I don't know. But, you know, you definitely have some features. And then here's the clock down here, of course. Nice Infiniti clock. Backup camera is okay. It's certainly more than adequate for what, you know, anybody needs to be able to perform the function of backing up. I can clearly see where the curb is. You have the red, yellow, and green, and those are always great. They're very accurate. Believe me, you just got to trust in them. But as far as quality, I'd say it's probably like standard definition. It's definitely not even 720p. But it's a pretty decent size, you know, video screen. And honestly, it is certainly a great function. And at the time, it was definitely a top-notch feature. So I can appreciate that. Navigation doesn't look too bad. For an older vehicle, you know, let's see. Oh, it's not, there we go. But they got nice zoom out, zoom in buttons. Like, there is a lot of good stuff here. Back, voice, enter. They got a lot of stuff that you can really be able to use and will help out. Day and night mode right there for you. I definitely like it. And again, most people are using their phones anyways for navigation and all that. So really, it's just a backup. And to have a navigation built in, I'm definitely going to give it a thumbs up. I can't complain. All right, jumping into the back seat here. Helps if you have the door unlocked. So this is the driving position that I had. And you can see here, there's definitely a good amount of knee room. I'm about 5'10", 5'11", so that's pretty decent. I think even somebody that's 6 foot tall can definitely get in here. And if they needed a little bit more room, of course, the driver or the passenger could always push up a little bit. But I think it's actually satisfactory for sure. And then if you see here, you got little vents facing you, so that's nice. They're right at the perfect level. They're not huge, but I'll definitely take it. And again, it's at a perfect spot. No vents or anything down here except for the 12 volt outlet. Got an electric charge port down here, and got your armrest here, which actually angles up a little bit. It doesn't go completely flat. But honestly, the way you sit back, if you could see these seats, the way they lean back, it feels like you're kind of like in a recliner chair, which is nice. I'm not sure if you can actually change it. I don't think so. But it's a pretty good angle. You might, if you're the kind of person that always likes to sit upright, it may kind of bother you. But definitely the angle of this is nice for sure. A little place for your phone and stuff. And again, like I said, you got the cup holders down there that pop out. Some hideaway cup holders, which I really like. They're not in the way of like the armrest, and they can be out of the way if you want. You got a pretty big hump here, but that's because it's like a shorter SUV. It's not as tall, and it is all-wheel drive, so you know they do need that. And also headroom. For a slope back roof, hopefully you could see this little gray area, the shadow. So the roof is caving back upwards. So there's even a larger bubble in this area. So even here where the roof is the lowest, there's still what, maybe 2 inches? But you come back here where your head actually is in this area, and you got more like 4 or 5 inches. So that's really nice. That's definitely nice. It helps you keep from feeling very claustrophobic in a car, which is definitely coupe-like and cut back for the SUV. And then we come into the trunk area, which is nice. Obviously got a little light back here and so forth. I like these, so you can pull these down, even though they're so close. If there was the strap, you could just do it. But they got the little handles there to just push down the seats, which is nice. So like that, perfect. Load height, it's probably about waist level. Get a little scuff plate here. It's definitely plastic though. This isn't aluminum, so it will get scuffed up, but I mean, this is older and it still seems to be in pretty good condition. There's not a ton of room obviously back here, but you weren't kind of expecting that, were you? But it's definitely plenty. Definitely as much as a normal trunk would have for a car. Definitely a little bit more. And then once you put the seats down, it's pretty good space. Not Nissan Rogue space, but oh, I thought it had a power tailgate. This one does not. So SK Lifestyle told you a little lie there. I like that thud. I like how it just comes down and you could hear the like bank vaultness of it. And let's see this one. That's pretty solid. Not as solid as the trunk, but it still sounds pretty good. So in the manual mode, it will hang gears pretty good. It definitely won't let you go down. Like, it was already hanging 2 pretty well, so it didn't want to go down into 1. Honestly, I think I like that. I'd much rather it hang the gears. I'd much rather it hang the gears and then protect you from messing up a lower gear by slamming back down into it than just going through the gears but never hanging them, for sure. The thing sounds great, looks great, feels great. I think you're getting a lot of car for the money by getting one of these, honestly. You're getting luxury, you're getting sportiness, you're getting a coupe-like feel, and also a SUV, you know, not reliability, but what do you call it, abilities. And you'll never just get old of that exhaust note. And it honestly is perfect. These slightly older ones, I feel like the exhaust note was even better. Unless you probably get like one of the high performance, like Sport 400, Red Sport 400s or something. And it's quiet enough that it's like, it's not annoying. You know what I mean? Like you can hear it, but you're not gonna wake up the whole neighborhood. So you can still get that kind of like Ferrari growl out of it and not be a just complete jerk to your whole neighborhood. And that right there, just making the sound, you don't have to go crazy on the engine. You just push into it a little bit like you would for anything to just accelerate a little bit, and it goes. I'm pretty impressed with this thing. I think it drives great. I think it looks really good, and it's aged very well for, you know, I don't know, what would that be, 12-year-old car now? You know what I mean? It's definitely, as far as form and function, everything, I like it. Let me know what you guys think about the FX35 down below. Are you in the market for a sport SUV, like a compact or regular? Are you in the market specifically for an Infiniti, like an FX or the new QX? Let me know. I always get back to everybody that leaves comments and questions, so I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, and stay tuned for me as well. That's why you need to subscribe, because I am also car shopping at the moment, so I will be looking for new vehicles. I do reviews on vehicles from time to time as well, and I got a ton of other great content that you need to watch, especially now that it's summertime. Probably going to get out on the jet ski tomorrow, but right now, what today is really for is to go test my new drone. So subscribe, check out my drone video, check out my jet ski videos, see what new vehicle I get, and I hope you guys have a great summer. SK Lifestyle.